Hiya! Welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where we keep great radio from the past alive. Doing something a little different today. Today we are going back to August 29th, 2005. That is when Hurricane Katrina struck Louisiana. It was one of the most devastating natural disasters in U.S. history. And when it hit New Orleans, the storm itself was powerful, but the real catastrophe came after the city's levees broke. And those levees were supposed to protect neighborhoods from flooding. But many broke under the pressure of the storm surge, and as a result, 80% of the city of New Orleans ended up underwater, leaving thousands of people stranded on rooftops, in the Superdome, or in makeshift shelters waiting for rescue. The impact on the city was enormous. Entire communities were destroyed, and tens of thousands of families were displaced, some never to return home. The disaster exposed some deep issues of poverty and government response, and most of the hardest hit areas were low-income residents who did not have the means to evacuate. Even today, New Orleans still bears the scars from Katrina. Now, what we have here is coverage of Hurricane Katrina, and they had this disaster to cover, which is not easy to do, because if you think about it, there's no power. Streets are flooded, it's hard to get in and out of the city, and communication was almost impossible in some areas.
We've been having an extraordinary difficult time doing our jobs, operating off car batteries. We were afraid we were going to lose our capability to charge them because the cars were going underwater, or the water was going to make those in the garage inaccessible to us. We just felt we weren't going to be able to produce much for the network, and there are health concerns. We still have a cameraman who broke his foot shooting during the hurricane on Monday. He still has not gotten any medical attention. All of us have been in water that, as you've heard, is highly contaminated, and frankly, we all wanted to get back to our loved ones.
This recording features CBS coverage of the storm and the aftermath in a special that they did called Disaster in the Delta. It was a compilation of the coverage they had done over the past several days. Fascinating to watch, and it makes you wonder how they even were able to pull this off. It's CBS coverage of Hurricane Katrina from 2005.
Answers.
And whatever idiots are in charge at the top that have done this to us, they need to be fired.
Why did so many have to wait so long?
There is absolutely nothing here. We advise people that this city has been destroyed.
Why were so many lost?
What I intend to do is lead an investigation to find out what went right and what went wrong.
What will the future look like for those who survived?
We've just been waiting, and we don't know what we're waiting for.
A country opens its arms.
I'm just so grateful that they've helped me as much as they have.
Tonight, the search for answers.
We should all go to heaven because I feel like we've lived through hell.
The search for survivors.
I don't think any of us seen devastation like this before.
The search for hope.
Life goes on, and I have to continue on living.
48 Hours investigates disaster in the Delta.
I'm Peter Van Sant in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the blistering hot state capital, which has now swelled to more than twice its normal population with evacuees from Hurricane Katrina. Officials here are now directing the rescue efforts, which seem to be finally making a difference. But it's come after days of national shame.
The state of Louisiana just let us die up here, and that's not fair, and I want the whole United States to know this.
The world watched while American citizens, the weakest and poorest among us, were left abandoned, without food or water, dying in the streets.
Nobody don't want to come and help us. All these babies, they got about 1,000 babies out here. They don't even want to come give us water.
Many are blaming the horror on a colossal failure of government, a man-made disaster that followed in the wake of Katrina's wrath.
We should all go to heaven because I feel like we've lived through hell.
And as the death toll mounts, a discomforting question is being asked. In the end, what will have contributed to more deaths? Katrina itself or the government's incompetent, sluggish response?
This is bureaucracy at its worst, and this bureaucracy at its worst has committed murder in the New Orleans area. So they can't swim. What does that mean? They wait.
Aaron Bouchard heads a local parish just outside New Orleans.
When you look at the deaths that they're going to discover and the autopsies are done, when it's finally done, they're going to find horribly that a lot of people died many days after Mother Nature had come and gone.
Hurricane Katrina should have taken no one by surprise. This wasn't an earthquake, but a predicted disaster that the whole world could see coming. About a year ago, a government study predicted that a storm even weaker than Katrina would devastate New Orleans. Federal emergency managers assured local officials that help would be on the way if they could just hang on for the first 48 hours.
It was exactly this scenario, and everybody who went through that exercise and everybody who participated signed off.
But, says Walter Maestri, a local emergency director, when the big one hit, the promised help never showed up.
Everything that I believed, everything that I committed to, and I felt they committed to us in all the years of planning, it didn't happen. It simply didn't happen.
And the consequence of that?
A lot of angry people. It allowed the civil unrest to take over, and in essence, the thug element to come in and do its thing. How can you tell people who are starving that they can't loot? The first thing we asked for was water. The second thing we asked for was food. The third thing we asked for was some form of power so we could get things back up. Communication.
And of those three things, how many did you get?
Zip.
Today, President Bush moved to get ahead of the storm of criticism.
What I intend to do is lead a investigation to find out what went right and what went wrong. And I'll tell you why. It's very important for us to understand the relationship between the federal government, the state government, and the local government when it comes to a major catastrophe.
That crucial relationship clearly fell apart here. And we saw it fall apart from the moment New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin ordered the evacuation.
As of right now, New Orleans is definitely the target for this hurricane.
The people left behind, African American primarily, dirt poor, didn't have cars to get out. Isn't it a local responsibility to get those people out of New Orleans?
There are no resources to take people out in that mass. No local government of 500,000 people has that many buses and that many personnel to pull people out. The resources are not there.
New Orleans' poor, immobile population was left behind, left to fend for themselves by city officials. New Orleans police seemed ill-prepared and were overwhelmed. Many cops simply quit their jobs. The biggest shelter from the storm was the Superdome. At first, it was a haven. It became a hellhole. Louisiana Governor Kathleen Blanco was herself singled out for criticism.
It's just heartbreaking.
Published reports have said that during the crisis, she seemed, quote, uncertain and sluggish, had to be convinced by President Bush to declare a mandatory evacuation. And she admitted feeling overwhelmed. And according to Walter Maestri, the state of Louisiana frequently was overwhelmed and ineffectual.
What did the state of Louisiana do that made your problem even worse?
Not forcing the issue with the federal government through their own resources. And that communication process is the first thing that started to fall apart.
Right. How could the state of Louisiana not have a communication system set up that when the big one hit, you could get through to these guys?
I don't know the answer to that. I will tell you that right now. What I'm being told is, towers were lost, so the 800 megahertz system didn't work. Satellite phones, people didn't know the numbers, which to me is absolutely insane.
The levees were breached, and President Bush cut short his vacation, signaling the seriousness of the federal government's response. But the federal help was slow in coming.
Katrina come up through here.
And Michael Brown, the head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, seemed clueless.
Sir, you're not telling me you just learned that the folks at the convention center didn't have food and water until today, are you? You had no idea they were completely cut off?
Paula, the federal government did not even know about the convention center people until today.
New Orleans was sinking fast, and it wasn't just the floodwaters and the storm that were to blame. Tempers reached a boiling point. Mayor Nagin called into a local radio show and simply lost it.
Get off your asses and let's do something, and let's fix the biggest goddamn crisis in the history of this country.
Suddenly, the situation along the Gulf Coast was so dire that politicians ventured outside the spin zone. Mississippi Republican Senator Trent Lott couldn't help himself. He began attacking another Republican, beleaguered FEMA Director Michael Brown.
If he doesn't solve a couple of problems that we've got right now, he ain't going to be able to hold a job, because what I'm going to do to him ain't going to be pretty.
All this anger finally got the attention of the federal government in a big way. Help arrived 4 days after the hurricane struck.
It's now not time for blame. You know, now's the time to recover. We've got to feed the people. We've got to get the people back home. There will come a time when we have to assess who's responsible for this. That's the time that the piper will have to be paid.
The past has got to be investigated. It has got to be explored to the same extent that 9/11 was explored publicly. It all has to be exposed, and it's going to be ugly, ugly, ugly.
Washington politicians returned today to Capitol Hill and signaled their determination to investigate the disaster along the Gulf Coast.
We got to help you get back into nursing school.
New York Democratic Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton urged the president to restore FEMA to full cabinet-level status. 48 Hours correspondent Susan Spencer spoke with the senator today in Washington.
Money has been taken away from FEMA, functions have been taken away from FEMA, personnel have been cut, it has been cannibalized.
So should Michael Brown be fired?
Well, you know, I have learned in watching this administration closely now for 4 years, you're only fired if you tell the truth and if you speak truth to power, so to speak.
Was that yes? Was that a yes?
I think that, you know, this is up to the administration.
You can't mean to basically give the state a pass on this or imply that the state did such a bang-up job either. Right?
Well, I don't think that we should give anybody a pass.
And we're going to have the volunteer fire departments go out with bullhorns and announce that food and water and medicine is available at these locations. FEMA is not positioned to do what its mission really is.
There is no doubt in Aaron Broussard's mind what needs to be done now.
This should be a cabinet-level post that's independent, that's fully funded by Congress, that has the maneuverability to get out of all the red tape and any civil service issues and all that stuff and simply be a juggernaut.
Has anyone learned a lesson here? Unfortunately, we'll only know for certain when the next disaster strikes.
My real fear right now is that if there were to be a series of coordinated attacks by terrorists on several American cities at the same time, what can we expect? What response would come? Look around you. I mean, this is what we have, and it's only one, and it was a natural disaster, and we knew it was coming.
I'm John Roberts in New Orleans. It's 8 days now since Hurricane Katrina roared through this city, destroying lives, taking others. Officials have begun collecting and identifying what dead they can reach. To get everyone will take a month or more. But even as authorities go about that grim task, there are some signs of hope here. It was a small miracle for a city desperately in need of them. Late today, running water returned to New Orleans. Add to that the sight of floodwater finally pumping out of downtown, and it was enough for the mayor to declare a corner has been turned.
I'm starting to think about the possibilities now versus being immersed in death and misery and emergencies and crisis. So it's looking better to me.
Better, but there's still plenty of problems. Before the water came back on, more fires broke out. Helicopters attacked them like forest fires, filling up in the Mississippi, dropping load after load on the flames. And the floodwaters here are no help. They're polluted with oil and gas. Officials fear an explosion. So rescuers today issued an urgent call to the hundreds of people still out there to come to higher ground.
Boss, you got anybody coming into the aft deck?
But coaxing them in is a challenge. The USS Iwo Jima, now docked in New Orleans, is flying dozens of search and rescue missions daily. Many come back empty.
I think a lot of these people, as you know, are convinced that the water's going to subside and we're going to get back to normalcy, and having flown around here, it's not going to happen.
3 days ago, we met Deirdre Humphrey, chest deep in the stinking brew. She was determined to tough it out.
When we came out of the attic and I jumped in my living room and the water was up to here in my living room.
Today, we found her at an evacuation point near the convention center.
Why did you decide to come out?
I couldn't, it wasn't going anywhere soon. We just couldn't live like that anymore. 8 days. We tried to tough it out. That's it.
This is your house?
This is our house. Well, we've been for 35 years.
A relative had seen her on CBS News, urged Deirdre and her family to come join them in Michigan.
We were really preparing. I said, when we were waiting for the boat to come this morning, on the porch, packed, geared up, ready to touch dry land.
After 8 long days, it was a few short hours, a check through security, and Deirdre was on her way to Detroit.
Bye. Thank you so much. I have to send y'all a thank you card.
The country has opened its arms to evacuees. Texas was the first to take them.
Welcome.
Now it's nationwide. Los Angeles, Charlotte, Washington, D.C.
We're an Air Force rescue team. We will assist you.
But city officials are warning of another shockwave. When the water goes down, the dead will be found, and they may number in the thousands.
This is Lee Cowan in the New Orleans French Quarter, where the ghosts of Bourbon Street are nothing but echoes these days.
This is the quietest I've ever heard New Orleans in my life.
This Big Easy neighborhood has never been this deserted.
We can hear frogs at night. I've never heard the frogs. I've never heard crickets.
The quarter's 78 square blocks are the oldest and highest part of New Orleans. It was one of the last to evacuate. This city within a city bore the storm actually better than most. It may look empty, but the ghosts have a little company. So why haven't you left? Why are you still here?
I love this city.
Marty Montgomery has lived here for some 30 years. This is home, and no one is going to make him leave. He's become the Robin Hood of the quarter. He admits he robbed a little to survive and to help feed those who came knocking on his door for help. And he didn't turn anybody away?
No. Not at all.
How come?
You can't do that.
Strangers, friends, neighbors, whoever.
Well, we had a gentleman sleep on the couch. He needed a place to stay, and the next day he was gone. We loaded him up with water and food, and he left to evacuate.
He's improvised every convenience, even a burglar alarm. He swept up the broken shale off rooftops into neat little piles so he can hear if anyone's approaching. He commandeered a porta potty from a nearby construction site to keep his compound sanitary. And every morning he picks up the trash, just like a one-man sanitation department. It's a makeshift relief center run out of a courtyard, barely the size of a garage. And how many people do you think you've helped that way that you don't even know their names?
Does it make a difference? As long as God knows, I'm sure.
There is a spirit here that doesn't just come from a bottle, although they are inextricably linked.
Lots of old spirits here. They survived it, so will we.
A few blocks away, down Bourbon Street, is Johnny White's bar, what locals here call their living room. It has never closed, never, especially during the storm of the century.
This has become more than a bar in the past few days. It's actually become a hospital, a homeless shelter, soup kitchen, and a place where you get drunk, all in one.
As with everything here in the French Quarter, even humanitarian aid is offered in style.
Cannot forget the parades we're having tomorrow. Southern decadence has not died.
It's a party town.
People that live in the French Quarter are tongue-in-cheek French
for the rats. That's because hurricanes come or storms or whatever comes, they disappear, but they always reappear.
But not all the rats are welcome these days.
Just like the old days.
The French Quarter isn't only quiet, it's dark, pitch dark.
You stay safe, you hear?
So every night, Marty sits on that balcony of his with his 12-gauge shotgun at his side.
Will do, can do, and shall do.
He calls it kindness. If anyone tries to break in, he reasons, he'll kill them with kindness.
When you were sitting up here, did you ever have to level that shotgun at somebody?
No, sir. If I level, I will shoot.
Come close?
I'm not going to say.
While he's keeping peace on the outside, he's stocking up on provisions inside.
How long do you think you can hold out?
What we have right now, each one of us can last 30 days.
So some of this you bought before.
Oh, yeah.
And some of it was given to you.
Right. A lot of these cans were given to us.
But it's upstairs, where his most valuable stash is stored.
This is our barter store. We do not drink alcohol.
You don't drink?
Yeah.
You got all this and you don't drink?
Well, we use it for barter.
So this is just the, purely just the bar of survival.
Well, yeah, it's like money. The paper money means nothing. This means money. I can get somebody to clean out that portalette with probably a bottle of wine tomorrow.
It's a whole new way of living, isn't it?
Perhaps.
A whole new way of living in a whole new New Orleans.
Does test your faith at all?
It's made my faith stronger.
Because?
People have come together that would never come together and band together.
A hardy community learning to live in a city of sober streets and silent sidewalks, full of ghosts for now.
I love New Orleans.
I'm Jim Acosta in Mississippi. In the tiny coastal town of Bay St. Louis, some remarkable stories are just coming out. Andrew McDonald documented his journey to hell and back.
That's part of Charles Gray's route. It's brand new.
McDonald defied the mandatory evacuation order, videotaping his childhood community in perhaps its final hours.
Getting places that might be gone.
It's a ghost town of grandiose homes awaiting a deadly hurricane. But Andrew has faith in his mother's old house. The 100-year-old home survived Hurricane Camille in '69. He hunkers down with his mother, his wife Denise, and his camera.
We have a good house. We don't live in some trailer-type place.
As night falls, it's Sunday. The hurricane approaches. The winds are whipping. The trees shaking. The electricity goes out.
It's 2 a.m. It looks like pretty much a wall of rain.
His mom's 100-year-old house doesn't feel so strong after all.
It's 9:10. The house is completely flooded. Maybe I had left us here at a point where we couldn't leave and it was going to be too dangerous. We're starting to see pieces of houses flying around. Look, that's all driftwood, man. Somebody's house is gone.
It's chaos. The storm threatening, deadly. Andrew continues shooting.
Scene of several people climbing up out of this ocean of debris.
He sees a family fighting for their lives.
They're huddling down from the wind. They're going into the boat. No, there's like 5 of them, and there's a dog. Oh, dear.
Andrew puts down his camera. He tries to save them.
And then I rushed out, and I became kind of obsessed with helping them, just yelling at them.
But he can't reach the desperate family. The debris in the water makes swimming towards their boat impossible. They disappear.
Pieces of rooftops, pieces of houses all floating out here. That house across the way, across the yard, is completely submerged.
There is no house strong enough, no tree tall enough to withstand the wrath of this angry storm.
So the water's about 3 feet into the house, and it's about 5 or 6 feet outside of it.
Andrew's neighborhood is flattened by almost 25 feet of water.
An amazing sight, an amazing event that within an hour This landscape had just utterly transformed.
Every house destroyed, except one. Andrew's childhood home stands tall among the ruins.
We were alive. I guess, I don't know if it's a selfish feeling or not, but it was very much a sense of elation that the thing had passed and that we had made it.
We found the family Andrew had tried to save, the Schultzes. Emily Schultz was working as a nurse at the local hospital when water flooded her family's home.
My 10-year-old had a life jacket on, and then they blew up air mattresses, and my mother was sitting in a recliner, and she said, "I'm too old for this. I don't want to do it." And she put her head down. She said, "Y'all go." And they watched the water go over, and the roof collapsed, and they got out on the roof. So they got out just in the nick of time.
Emily's mother was lost to the flood. Everyone who made it to the boat survived. Mrs. Schultz, like so many others in this town, isn't sure where she and her family will go.
We're going to make it. We built back after Camille. We'd lost everything. We won't be building back here, though.
Today, the tape that Andrew shot has become a part of history.
I'm trying to film some things, getting places that might be gone.
A living document to a storm so angry that in its wake, those who survived it remain stunned by her power.
I'm Bill Whitaker in Biloxi. Now, more than a week after Katrina mauled the Mississippi coast, a refrain heard again and again in this devastated city.
I can't find FEMA nowhere.
Jeff Miller and his family are desperate to get out of their battered trailer.
They can't breathe the mold that's in the air. The trailer's soaking wet.
It's been hell.
His wife, Shelley.
We've tried calling FEMA. You can't get through on the phone lines.
Biloxi resident Tuan Tran and his wife drove by. They've lost everything.
So you're looking for FEMA?
Yes, sir.
Have you found them?
No, sir.
They'd all come to the Main Street Missionary Baptist Church seeking the federal agency that would cut them a check, help them find shelter.
That's chicken, there's beans here.
In the wake of Katrina, this church is filling the federal and state void. It became the de facto emergency relief center when 150 people ran here up to the second floor to escape the tide surge that washed away their houses. Now, this is the only institution providing food, clothing, and shelter in hardest-hit East Biloxi. Pastor Kenneth Haynes says he saw a FEMA representative briefly.
There's a lady came in here the second day.
Has she been back?
I haven't seen her.
The Lord is able to put shelter over our heads.
People here know things are worse in New Orleans, and in Biloxi, patience isn't just a virtue, it's a way of life. But 3 days after Katrina hit, you could hear in the voice of Major Wildish of the local Salvation Army, supplies and patience were wearing thin.
We have a great need for food. We have a lot of people, and yet we don't have enough food to feed them.
By Sunday, patience was gone.
I've been so angry because it's like we were forgotten over here. Nothing. There is nothing in East Biloxi.
Singing and praying with my mind, set on Jesus.
So people here have been left to do what they have always done, rely on themselves, their neighbors, their churches.
And we pay taxes just like everybody else.
Pastor Kenneth Davis heard this church was housing more than 100 homeless storm victims and rushed over the next day with water in the biggest container he had, a trash can. He thought it might be used to flush toilets. Instead, desperate, thirsty people drank it.
And they drink water.
Out of the trash can?
Yes, sir. You know, the thing that hurt me so, why should Americans drink water from the trash can?
And what does FEMA say about all this? That this was a storm like no other. And local FEMA coordinator Michael Beeman says he doesn't want to bring in too many people too fast and overtax the devastated infrastructure.
How many of you are having problems getting gas? And you're asking us to put more people in here. What we're trying to do is think the process out.
While FEMA is thinking, the American people are acting. Biloxi now relying on the kindness of strangers. Perhaps the strangest? Oxfam, the international relief agency, rushed in. Nathaniel Raymond is directing the effort.
As Oxfam, our goal is to help governments where they can't fully respond to emergencies in their own country.
Their last major project, aiding victims of the Asian tsunami.
We're not moving into the questions of when are we going to have shelter. We're not there yet, and we were moving in that direction much quicker in many cases with the tsunami.
And like the tsunami, the response from individuals to this tragedy has been swift and moving. Dave Stevens brought goods from Alabama.
United Methodist Church in Spanish Fort, Alabama. They prepared all these boxes for us. We heard there was a need here, so we came.
They came from Florida, Charlotte. The NAACP came from Atlanta. This mobile medical truck from New York. These folks started in Minneapolis with few supplies and got so many donations along the road, they arrived in Biloxi with a truckload. Pastor Davis says he's been moved to tears by the public outpouring.
The response from the government is another matter. It probably wouldn't be wise for the preacher right now to tell you what I really think about that.
Today, the Marines stormed the Biloxi beach with troops to help patrol the streets. Also today, FEMA opened the first relief center around here. It's a town away, but many people here in East Biloxi lost their cars to Katrina and can't get there.
You can help someone whose life was displaced by the hurricane. Call 1-800-HELP-NOW or go to redcross.org. CBS cares.
No. None of these are sexy enough. Find out what Eva Longoria is wearing. Something lower.
Ellen DeGeneres hosts the Emmys, live Sunday, September 18th.
When physical evidence is not enough, the only way to catch a criminal is to think like one.
Tell us where Heather Woodland is.
Isn't she the girl that went missing a couple of days ago?
He said, isn't she the girl? If he'd already killed her, he would have said, wasn't she the girl? She's alive.
Criminal Minds special premiere September 22nd. A brand new season of CSI New York premieres CBS Wednesday, September 21st.
Local 6 unveils the latest technology in severe weather warning, and all you need is a cell phone. Now you can get live Viper radar anywhere, anytime. Just go to local6wireless.com right on your cell phone. Go to the weather page, then bookmark it. Or simply go to local6.com for step-by-step instructions. Get severe weather alerts and your 7-day forecast. Local6wireless.com. Part of our commitment to keeping you and your family safe. From Local 6, the leaders in weather technology.
Get a free generator at closing. Call Diamond Home Funding to find out how.
This is Trish Regan in Houston.
We're one big happy family.
Overnight, Tracy Cox's family of 6 has grown into a family of 16. Tracy, her husband, and their 4 children are sharing their home with 10 strangers.
It was just the right thing to do.
Ready for pickup?
They met them at the Astrodome, where the Coxes went to offer help to evacuees being housed there.
There was hundreds of people just digging through bags. They just wanted something clean, something to just have, because they had nothing.
That's where they found Anne, Kiana, and Stephanie.
They all had small children, and one of them's pregnant. I just couldn't send them back in there. I couldn't. And I knew that they were scared. You could see it on their faces. And me and my husband just looked at each other and said, come home with us, all of you. Cereal and peanut butter and plates.
Her neighbors in church have donated enough food and supplies.
Did you find the snack box?
To turn her garage into a warehouse. And for now, at least, it's all just fine by Tracy's youngest daughter, Everest.
When my friends aren't home, I'm usually just sitting here on the couch, just watching TV, and now I have someone to play with.
We just blend in like one big family.
The new expanded family plays together and prays together.
I'm glad that you gave me all these people and that we can have them live in our home. And I just want to pray that they're happy here.
Amen. That was so sweet.
And while conditions here are a world away from the Astrodome, the sleeping arrangements are still a bit cramped.
Anne and Zaria, they insist on sleeping on this little bed together.
What are you going to do next?
I have no idea.
Ann Williams and her granddaughter Zaria had been stranded on a New Orleans causeway for 2 days. That's where they last saw her husband Percy, and she hasn't heard from him since.
I know he's okay.
How do you know he's okay?
I just feel it, that he's okay.
Reuniting displaced families is a top priority, says Houston Judge Robert Eccles, known as the mayor of the Astrodome.
They're not just here. They are people who have been scattered across the country as they've been relocated.
Eccles says children here are being enrolled in Houston schools, and officials are doing their best to find jobs for the adults. But as the days pile up, people here are getting frustrated.
We've just been waiting.
This woman was a receptionist at a law firm.
Forgive me if I don't think sleeping on the Astrodome floor is living. I do not want to live in the dome or be bused from one shelter to another.
If you can imagine going to a football game and you're sitting with, in this case, about 23,000 of your close friends, and you never get to go home. You're sharing your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, your bathroom with 15,000 of your friends and neighbors.
How long will the Astrodome stay open? How long can it stay open?
Well, you know, physically, the Astrodome can stay open for a long time. We could be here months. Practically, for these folks, our goal is that it is in a matter of weeks we get these people into a more suitable long-term relief housing of some kind and then ultimately back into permanent housing.
Maybe so, but the Astrodome now has its own zip code. And no one knows how long people will be living in shelters or with families like the Coxes. Still, for the fortunate people living here, life is getting better.
We're here to enroll Zaria.
Today, 5-year-old Zaria is excited about her first day at her new school.
I'm going to kindergarten, play with all my friends.
Mr. Halverson, we have a new guest. How many think they can be friends?
Oh, look, all the friends.
And when she gets home, she'll have another happy surprise. CBS News found her grandfather, Percy, at a shelter 2 hours away. We brought him to Houston to his wife, Ann.
That's him. Oh, Jesus.
Tracy's church has found the Williams family an apartment of their own, and Percy, a bus driver, is determined to find work and rebuild their lives.
Who knows? I might get lucky.
I'm Tracy Smith in Baton Rouge, where Katrina's enormous impact is changing the lives of some of Louisiana's tiniest victims.
Hello, sweetheart.
In the wake of the storm, Michelle Langsford wasn't about to let go of her 4-month-old son, Cade.
I've been with him from day one, and I was not leaving his side when he needed me most.
Diagnosed with chronic lung disease and hospitalized since birth, Cade had already defied the odds.
He was 1 pound 6 ounces when he was born.
Michelle ignored the mandatory evacuation to stay with her premature baby in a New Orleans hospital. It forced Cade's father, Kenny, to make a tough decision.
I said, Michelle, you stay. I think it's best if me and Corey leave. And kissed her goodbye, kissed him. That was tough.
But as the waters rose on Tuesday, Cade and 120 other babies from neonatal intensive care units were evacuated without their mothers.
Did you say anything to him when they wheeled him away? I just held him in my arms and I was snapshotting pictures of him. Just make sure that I knew what he looked like, and if something would happen, that I would have pictures of him, like, no, this is my baby, you know.
They had already lost Cade's twin at birth, and now Michelle and her husband Kenny faced another wave of fear.
We walked with him to the elevator, and I just told my friend Valerie, I was like, you know, just take care of him, because she's been with Cade since he was born.
Cade is one of the lucky ones. Of 87 babies transported to Women's Hospital in Baton Rouge, 8 are still separated from their families. With Katrina's victims spread as far away as Oklahoma or Utah, reconnecting the families is an ongoing challenge.
What facility was she evacuated from in New Orleans?
Nurses here say they'll do whatever it takes until families arrive.
We're taking care of your babies, and we're here for as long as you need us to be.
24 hours after their separation, Cade's dad Kenny and sister Corey were the first ones to see him.
I came here, saw him, just hugged him, kissed him. It was more joy seeing him here now than when he was born.
Michelle joined them later after hitchhiking a ride on a chopper, wading through water, and walking for miles to get to the hospital.
You're not keeping me from my baby. He'll have to walk to Baton Rouge. What you doing?
Hurdles still remain for the Langsfords.
We want him to come home, but we don't have anywhere for him to go.
They've lost their home and their jobs, but for now, what they've found gives them the strength to keep going.
How tough is that little guy?
Yeah, he's been through a lot.
Very tough.
Night sweats, they go on, then off, then on. Hot flashes, then something else comes off.
If menopausal symptoms are disrupting your life, Premarin is approved to treat symptoms and prevent bone loss. If you don't have symptoms, consider non-estrogen treatment instead of an estrogen.
I'm Byron Pitts in Plaquemine Parish, 40 miles southeast of New Orleans, where there are doorways to heartache and roads that lead nowhere. Here where abandoned animals howl for help and human survivors grumble for the same.
Plaquemines didn't get nothing.
Jeff Edgecombe and Byron Prest, like all their neighbors, lost everything they owned.
What's it do to your heart to see all this devastation?
What does to my heart? I'll be honest with you, I'm 42 years old, and we lost it a few times. Yep. Yeah. No, you know, there's not one grown man can say he didn't cry over this one.
Days of crying and cursing. Both men say they've yet to see a single representative from FEMA, except when they and their families were kicked out of the hotel they fled to in Baton Rouge. A FEMA team, it seems, needed hotel space.
When you got 80, 90-year-old women that don't have nothing, you know, they did have a motel room, but yet they pushed out in the street, you know?
By FEMA?
Yeah.
A lady in a wheelchair.
Right.
Yep. Sorry? Had a lady in a wheelchair, kicked out of the
her
hotel, put her in the car, and sent on our way.
So the men of Plaquemine Parish clear their own debris, look for their own dead. There are houses here leveled to the ground and some pushed into the street. As bad as it is here in this part of Plaquemine Parish, go further south and it's worse, where there are entire towns now only reachable by air or by boat. These were once fishing communities, crawfish to oysters. That stench in the air isn't simply dead animals, but livelihoods lost.
We were the first hit, and we were looking for assistance, and we're still looking for assistance, but we haven't received any yet.
Plaquemine Parish President Benny Roussel.
I am frustrated, I am aggravated, and I'm looking for help.
Jay Friedman's looking for fragments of his life.
I got here me a souvenir. That keep me from crying. I can hold on to it.
That souvenir is a brick from what's left of his home.
Catastrophic. Take that word and think about what it means, and this is what it means. You're looking at it. Can't get no worse.
And it won't get any better, Friedman says, unless the federal government shows up soon. It took this region 20 years to recover from Hurricane Camille.
You know, what's really bad is the people that's old, the older people that has been home all their lives. And when they see this, you know, they're going to be, like I'm saying, they're going to be tears, and I just hope the people are strong enough to survive it, you know. They will.
Here where glory still stands and faith still matters, folk here believe what the sign says. Jesus is coming, even if the feds never do.
I'm Richard Schlesinger. It's tough to imagine a place like this anywhere other than this place.
This is home. There's no place like New Orleans in the world.
Geography has blessed it and cursed it, and created a saucy, sweaty, haughty, and naughty mixture that's equal parts triumph and tragedy.
Where is my country? Where is my president?
Even now, in the midst of cries for aid and the uproar about aid delayed, a simpler sound rang out. Anyone who knows New Orleans hopes this man playing his trumpet is a metaphor. Music has always been this city's lifeblood. New Orleans invented jazz, and legends like Jelly Roll Morton, Fats Domino, and Louis Armstrong. Could this man playing music in the midst of everything be the sound of things to come?
When I saw the National Guard that arrived today, I felt like once again I was a part of America.
It's hard to remember over the past week and a day, but there have been other moments when the future of the city must have seemed in doubt. The city's been hit with pestilence and plague and with other floods from other hurricanes, like Betsy in 1965.
Well, they call it stormy Monday.
But at the crossroads of the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico, the city kept jumping. The people kept coming. There was usually money to be made, always music to be made. The city had its own character and its own characters. But now it's hard once again to see how the city can go on. The streets are empty save for corpses and ghosts of good times rolling. But there is still almost 300 years of history and tradition and spirit here. It might now be the city of the dead, but it is not yet a dead city.
With most of the evacuees now gone, the humanitarian crisis in this city has diminished, and authorities can now look to the very beginnings of recovery and reconstruction. But when you look at New Orleans, the immediate question is where to begin. There's the damage from the hurricane, the devastation of the flooding. Now the soil and stink left over from what rivaled any third world refugee camp that I've seen.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Tom Sorrell, still tracking the tropics this go around. Here's Tropical Depression number 16 out there, not gathering a whole lot of steam just yet and drifting oh so slowly to the north. Here's your positioner for you as of 8 o'clock this evening. 27 north, 78.4 west, and the movement is stationary. Maximum sustained wind still 30 miles per hour. Bound for a date with the north coast sometime Friday into Saturday. We should have a new path coming up tonight at 11. We'll see you in an hour.
The floodwaters out of New Orleans.